Okay, boys and girls, so now I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create your art assignment for this week, your digital art using a monochromatic color scheme. I've made sure that I'm on my brush tool. I can see that it's highlighted. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I want to be able to see my entire paper. Now I'm going to select a blue color because that I want blue to be my hue for this assignment. So my blue is over here in this corner. And the first thing I want to do, because I'm drawing a landscape, is I want to put a horizon line on my work of art. But the horizon line is going to be showing me where the land is, and I want the land to be a shade of blue. So I'm going to drop down here toward the bottom, and I'm going to choose a shade of blue for my first line, my horizon line. So I started at the very edge of my paper, and I'm going to go from one side to the other, and my line does not have to be straight. And I go all the way across my paper. Remember in the last video, I was explaining to you the importance of closing your lines. So what I've done is I didn't touch the ends of my lines, but I made sure that they went to the very edges of my paper so that I could then use my bucket tool. So I haven't changed my color. I'm still using the same shade, but I've changed my tool, and I can now come down here to the bottom and click inside of the space, and it filled the whole thing in for me. So now I have a shade of blue on my paper, and that's one of the requirements. I need to have 3 different values of blue. One of them needs to be a shade. That means my original color plus black. Now I'm going to fill in the sky up above blue as well. So I'm going to be using my second value of blue. I'm going to use my original hue. So I've come back up here to the corner, and I've still got my bucket tool selected, and I'm going to turn the entire background my original hue, which is this blue color. So now I have a shade of blue for the foreground and a nice blue sky for the background. I'm going to need to include one more value of blue, and it needs to be a tint. So I'm going to come up here into my sky, and let me choose a tint color first. I'm going to choose a nice, very light blue. Remember, a tint is your original color plus white, and I'm going to draw a curved line that looks like a big letter C, and I'm going to start at the same spot and draw a smaller curved line inside of there, a smaller letter C. Now I'm going to zoom in because it's important that the two ends of my lines touch so that I can have a closed shape, and they do. So now I'm going to go to change my tool to my paint bucket so that I can swiftly fill in that entire space. Now I'm going to zoom back out so that I can see my entire page, grab my hand and scoot it back over here. Wonderful. Now I have all 3 values of blue already in my artwork. I'm going back to my brush tool because I'm going to do some more drawing now. Now I need to add a tree and my spider. I need some black and white in this work of art to make it monochromatic color schemed. So I'm going to come down here and select some black. In the foreground of my artwork, I'm going to start on the very edge of my paper, and I'm going to draw a tree trunk going up into the sky and right off the top edge of my paper. Now I need 2 of these lines, one for each side of my tree, and I'm intentionally making my tree trunk look a bit wobbly. Now from here, I'm going to add a nice curved tree branch that goes across my sky. I need 2 of these lines, and they're going to come together at a point. And I need to make sure that that point is closed. Yes, my 2 lines are touching, and that's so that I can now switch over to my bucket tool, and I'm still using the black, and I can fill in all of these tree shapes. Now can see right here that there's some little remnants of my line creeping through there. I can switch back over to my paintbrush I can adjust the size of my brush to make it a bit bigger, and I can come in here and just paint away those lines. I can do that right up here also. All right, I'm going to make my brush small again. I'm going to add the spider next. Now a spider has 8 legs, so we're going to be drawing all 8 legs. We're going to begin by drawing the spider's body, a nice big oval or circle for the body. And we're going to add a smaller circle that overlaps for the spider's head. Okay, now I'm going to do some erasing, so I need my eraser. I don't want this line for, whoops, let me undo that. I don't want this line of the body peeking through there. So you just saw that when I erased it, took it all the way to the white paper. I don't want that. So the eraser tool is not the right tool for that. What I'm going to need to do, I know we said we weren't going to use this button right here, but this is a color select button. I can click on this button and then click on, oh, I'm on the eraser. Let me undo that. Make sure I'm back on my line tab, not over here on the eraser. I can click on this eyedropper, as it's called. It's a color selector, and I can select the color of my background. And now my paintbrush, I can use my paintbrush to come in here and paint over this line. So it's not my eraser tool on this website that I need, it's the background color. All right, so I've cleared that space out of there. Now I'm going to go back to my black color. I need to make sure that my line is the same size. It's around 4. Okay. And I'm going to draw some little eyes inside of here, circles for eyes. And give my spider some pupils. And I'm going to draw some little triangles for fangs. Making sure that all of my lines are closing and closing off those shapes, that the lines are touching, because I want to make the fangs and the eyes white once I'm done. So let's add some legs. I need diagonal lines for this. Spider's legs are usually bent like this. They go up and then down. So I'm going to put 4 on this side, and then there will be 4 on the other side of the spider's body. And we're not going to see the full length of each of these legs because they're being overlapped by the body. So however that works out will be perfect. And then from the tail end of the spider, we're going to put a spider web up to the tree, just like that. Now there's a few last things to do. I need to switch back over to my bucket tool, and I'm still using my black paint. I'm going to fill in my spider's body. I have to fill in each little space between all the legs and my spider's head. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to change my color to white. And I'm going to zoom in for this so I can make sure I get the white inside of the eyes and the fangs. I'm going to put some white in each eye and in each fang. And when I zoom out, I think I should be done. Yes, perfect. So what I have here is a monochromatic color scheme, digital work of art. I've included 3 values of my hue, which was blue. I chose the color blue. I have a tint in my moon, which means that I took the original value of blue and I looked for a whited version of blue for my tint. That means that this blue has a lot of white in it. And then for the ground, that was a blackened version of my blue, which is called a shade because the blue has black added to it. That is the foreground. And then I've included black and white in the tree and the spider. Boys and girls, I hope you have fun with this project. I know I've enjoyed drawing it, and I really look forward to seeing what your designs look like.